Good day, everyone. Today we're going to discuss about law of cosines. Objectives 1. Illustrates the law of cosine. 2. Use the concept of the sum of the measures of the interior angles is 180 degrees in finding the missing one angle. 3. Apply the formula of cosine in finding the missing part of an oblique triangle. And you have to remember that law of cosine is only applicable to SSS and SAS cases only. So we can use the following formulas. In standard form, if you're going to find the measure of the segment A, you have to find the square of A, then square of the other two sides such as B and C, and get the twice of the product of the other two sides such as B and C, and then multiply to the cosine value of the angle A. Angle A is the opposite angle of the side A. Now, if you're going to find for the angle A, given the three sides for SSS case only, you can use this formula. For the angle A, we can use the formula b squared plus c squared minus a squared all over 2bc. Now, if you're looking for the segment B, get the square of the segment B and the sum of the squares of the other two sides such as A and C, and get the twice of the product of A and C. Subtract this one to the sum of the squares of the other two sides, and don't forget to get the value of cosine B. Cosine B is the opposite side of the missing side, which is B. Now, if you're looking for the measure of the angle B, just write down the formula cosine B and then get the sum of the squares of the other opposites or the opposite sides, which is b squared, and don't forget to subtract that to the other two sides. The sum of the other two sides divided by 2 multiplied by a times c. Last one, if you're going to find the measure of segment C or side C, get the sum of the squares of the other two sides such as A and B. Just add them and subtract to the product of 2 times A times B times the cosine C. Remember, the values of the capital letters A, B, and C here are the angles. Angles are also called theta. And the small letter here represents a sides, measurements of a side. So if you're solving for the side of a triangle, we can use the standard form. Now, if you're looking for the measure of an angle, we can use the alternative form of the cosine formula. Now, last one, to find the measure of an angle C, get the square or the sum of the squares of the other two sides that is not opposite side of an angle C, such as A and B. Get the sum, square, then add, then subtract to the value of C. C is the opposite side of angle C, and then divide them all to 2 times A, B. In general, the standard form represented by the square of the opposite side, square of the adjacent side, plus the square of the adjacent side, subtracted by 2 times the two adjacent side times cosine of the angle. Alright, so if you're going to use this alternative form in finding the angle, so don't forget to press in your calculator this process. So press Shift. In other calculator, it is second function. And then press cosine. And then the ratio. Ratio here, sometimes it is represented by decimal and numbers. And then don't forget to press an equal sign, because the value that you can solve here is just a ratio, not the angle. Alright, so after you find the ratio, press these buttons on your calculator and you can find the values of angle A or angle B or angle C, whatever angles you're solving. Alright, so as long as you can memorize this general formula, this one or this one, the standard form of law of cosine, we can solve the angle and the sides of an oblique triangle for SSS and SAS cases only. For example, find the missing parts of triangle ABC on the right. Given angle C is 80 degrees, A is 8, B is 12. So all you have to do first is to identify if the given triangle is applicable in using the law of sine formula. So what is this case? This is side, angle, side. So it satisfies the case that we need to find. So that's the case that is applicable in using the law of sine, the SAS case. So we have here an included angle and the two sides, such as A and B. And we have to solve for C. So I have here formulas of law of cosine. So you have to choose which of these three you can use. Is it the first one, second one, or the third one? Since we are solving for C, so you have to choose the formula which C is missing. So we're going to use this first formula. So write down C squared is equal to A squared plus B squared minus 2AB minus cosine. Don't forget to write it in capital letter. So let's substitute our given since C is missing. So remain it as C. Then the value of A is 8 square. Value of B is 12, then square minus 2 times the value of A again. A is 8. Then the value of B is 12. Then times cosine. Angle C is 80 degrees. After that, simplify. Let us solve for C. So 8 square is 64. 12 square is 144 minus 2 times 8 times 12. The answer is 192 times cosine 80 degrees. Next, let's add 64 and 144. The answer is 208. Then minus, let's get the value of cosine 80. So let's write down here 192 times the value of cosine 80. Just press in your calculator cosine 80. So we can get 0.1736. And then don't forget to multiply these two numbers. So we have 192 times 0.176. The answer is 33.3312. Then subtract. So 208 minus 33.3312. The answer is 174.668. Do you think this is already the final answer? Very good. This is not yet the final answer because there is a square in C. So you have to extract by putting square with both sides. So we can now cancel the square root and the square. So we can get the value of C. So square root of 174.6688. The answer is 13.22. This is the value of C using the law of cosine. Alright, so C is 13.22. So using the law of cosine, all you have to do is to identify first if it is applicable in using the law of cosine. After that, so based on our given and the missing side, so choose which applicable formula is being or you can use in solving the missing side. So after you choose the formula that suits to find the missing side, so substitute the given. So after you substitute those given, just simplify. You can use your scientific calculator in finding their values easily. Alright? So let's proceed to another example. So let's recall again the value of C, 13.22. Now what if the missing part here is an angle? So let's use this general formula or the standard form. So we're going to solve for angle A. Since angle A is missing, so you're going to choose here where is angle A being placed. So it is here to the third formula. So there is cosine A. So let's copy that formula. A squared is equivalent to B squared plus C squared minus 2C times cosine A. Alright, so let's substitute our given. A is 8, then square. B is 12, square, plus C, 13.22 square minus 2 times the value of B, which is 12, times C, 13.22, then multiplied by cosine A. Cosine A is missing. So let's simplify the following numbers. 8 square is 64 equals 12 square 144 plus the square of 13.22. Let's get the square of that number. That is 174.7684 minus 2 times 12 times 13.22 times 12 times 13.22. The answer is 317.28, then multiplied by cosine A. Right, so next, let's add these two numbers. So we have 144 plus 174.7684. The answer is 318.7684. Then we have here 64 and minus 317.28 cosine A. Alright, so by addition property of equality, so we're going to place this one to the other side. So we have 64 minus 318.7684 equals negative 317.28 cosine A. So let's subtract that into these two numbers. So the answer is negative 254.764. I think we need to interchange their position so that we can have positive values. So let's interchange these two numbers. So let's place 317 to this side. 317.28, then cosine A, and this one to the other side, 264.764. Right, so we already have the positive values. All you have to do is to interchange their positions. Alright, after that, to find cosine A, so we have to divide both sides by 317.28 to eliminate the number beside the cosine A. So cancel this one. So we already have cosine A equals, so let's divide first, 254.768 divided by 317.28, so we can get 0.8029. So don't forget to press in your calculator the shift, cosine, the ratio which is 0.8029, and then don't forget to press equal sign so we can get the value of angle A. So the answer is 36.58 degrees. This is now the value of angle A, 36.58 degrees. Alright, so let's proceed to the third part. Let's recall the values. 36.58 and segment C is 13.22, and the only missing part here is angle B. As you can notice, there is only one missing angle here, and we have here two given angles. So we can now use the 180, which is the total measure of interior angles of a triangle. So all you have to do is to add the three angles, such as angle A, angle B, this is C, is equal to 180 degrees. So let's substitute. The angle A is 36.58 plus angle B, but it is missing, plus the measure of angle C, it is 80 degrees, plus don't forget to write the degree. Just get the sum of the two given angles. So just add 36.58 plus 80. The answer is 116.58 degrees plus angle B, equivalent to 180 degrees. So to find the measure of angle B, you have to subtract the sum of the two angles into 180 degrees. Just subtract. So we can now have the measure of angle B. 180 minus 116.58, the answer is 63.4 42. This is the measure of angle C, 63.42 degrees. So if you want to check if your answer is correct, just add the three angles and you must have to get the total of 180 degrees. Let's proceed to example number 2. So first you have to check if this satisfies the case to use the law of sine. So our given here are side, side, and side. Alright, so we satisfy the SSS case to use the law of cosine. So as you can notice, the given here are the sides, and we don't have here any given angle. So which do you think is an appropriate formula to use? Is it the standard form or the alternative form? Very good. So we have to focus on the alternative formulas because it's a little bit complicated if you're going to use the standard form, which is being used in solving the missing sides of a triangle. But there is already a formula prepared in finding the measure of an angle under the law of cosine. So if your missing angle is angle A, so choose this formula. If the missing angle is B, this one. If the missing angle is C, so the third formula. So let's start. So which angle you prefer to solve first? So let's find first the angle A. Since angle A is missing, so we're going to use the first formula. So write down the formula or the alternative form which is being used in solving the missing angles of a triangle. It is cosine A equals B squared plus C squared minus, or rather this is A squared all over 2BC. So this is the easiest way in solving or finding the missing angle in SSS case. So let's copy cosine A, then substitute the given for A, B, and C. B is 10 plus C, square of C, and then A, that is 15, and then square, then twice the product of B and C. B is 10, and then C is 20. Alright, so let's simplify. Get the value of 10 squared. 10 squared is 10 times 10, that is 100, plus 20 times 20, that is equivalent to 400. Then minus 15 times 15, 225. Then divide to 2 times 10 times 20. So we have 2 times 10 times 20. The answer is 400. Alright, so let us simplify again. Just follow the MDAS rule. So we have to add first before we subtract. So 100 plus 400, that is 500, minus 225 all over 400. Just subtract the two numerators. 500 minus 225, the answer is 275 divided by 400. Don't forget to write cosine A, which is our missing value. So divide 225 into 400. So we arrive at this answer, 0.6875. And don't forget to press in your calculator this button, shift, or second function, cosine, And then the ratio we have computed here is 0.6875 and equal sign. So what is your answer? Shift cosine 0.6875. Do we have the same answer? The angle A is 46.57. So I get the 2 decimal places and I round it. So angle A is 46.57. So we already get the value of angle A. So using the alternative form of law of cosine. So let's write down our value of A, 46.57. Next, let's solve for the angle B. So angle B is here. So again, it is SSS case. So we can use this alternative form if our given is our 3 sides or SSS case. Since we are solving for angle B, so we're going to get this formula, cosine B, because we are solving for angle B. Alright, so let's write down cosine B equals A squared plus C squared minus B squared all over 2AC. After that, substitute our given. Cosine B, A is 15 square plus C, 20 square minus B, 10 square, all over 2 times the value of A, 15, times C, which is 20. Alright, let's simplify. After we substitute to simplify, get the square of 15. The answer is 225 plus the square of 20, that is 400, square minus the square of 10, that is 100, all over 2 times 15 times 20, the answer is 600. Alright, so cosine B, yes, add first before you subtract. So 225 plus 400, so the answer is 625 minus 100 all over 600. So subtract 625 and 100. So cosine B is 525 over 600. Alright, so divide. Cosine B is equal to 525 divided 600. The answer is 0.875,000. Alright, so press the button in your calculator, shift, cosine, the ratio is 0.875, and then equal sign. So let's try to press that button. So we get angle B, which is 28.96 degrees. So angle B is 28.96 degrees. So we already find the 2 missing angles of this triangle, and we're still looking for the 3rd angle, which is the angle C. So let's write down our given to the next triangle. So we're using the same triangle here in applying the law of cosine. So let's write down our given here. As you can notice, you already have here 2 given angle and 1 missing angle. So we're not going to use the formula anymore. Instead, the 180 which is the total measure of the interior angles of a triangle. So all you have to do is to add these two angles, then subtract to 180. That's it. So let's do the steps. So angle A plus angle B plus angle C is equivalent to 180 degrees. After that, substitute the values of angle A, 46.57 degrees, plus angle B, 28.96, plus the angle C, which is the missing angle, is equivalent to 180. Don't forget to write the degrees because it is an angle. So just add the two angles, 46.57 plus 28.96. The answer is 75.53 degrees plus measure of the angle C equals 180 degrees. So let's subtract this one to 180 degrees to get the measure of an angle C. Let's subtract 75.53 into 180 degrees. So angle C is equivalent to 104.47 degrees. Therefore, we already computed the missing parts of this triangle, which are the angles. So if you're going to check if your angles are correct, so all you have to do is to add three angles and you have to find the total, which is 180 degrees. Alright, so that's it. Again, what is the formula for law of cosines? Did you remember them? So all you have to do is to memorize the formula for the law of cosines, so that you only have to do is to substitute the given, then simplify. So this is the formula for the law of cosines, and you have to remember that law of cosines is only applicable to SSS and SAS case only, which has an included angle between the two sides of a triangle. So the standard form for the law of cosines is a squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cosine A, or the alternative form to find the angle A is b squared plus c squared minus a squared all over 2bc. To find b or side c, this is the formula: b squared equals a squared plus c squared minus 2ac times cosine b. And to find the measure of angle b, so we can use this formula: cosine b is equal to a squared plus c squared minus b squared all over 2ac. And to find the segment C, or the opposite side of the angle C, so we have the formula c squared equals a squared plus b squared minus 2ab cosine C. Or if you're going to find the measure of angle C, we can use the formula cosine C equals a squared plus b squared minus c squared all over 2ab. In general, the square of the opposite side is equivalent to the square of the adjacent side plus the square of the other adjacent side subtracted by 2 times the adjacent side multiplied to other adjacent side times cosine of the angle. Alright.